In Kennewick, Washington, a mystery awaits. On July 28th in 1996, these two guys who were attending the hydroplane races on the Columbia River found a skull. They took the skull to a coroner who went back to the river like 10 different times, dug up a ton of bones, and found almost a complete skeleton. He determined it to be of European ancestry based on examination of the skull and bones. Ooh. So, what's the mystery, you might say? A lot of Europeans running around North America. Well, they carbon dated a bone fragment, and the latest estimate I've heard after they refined it was somewhere between 8,400 and 8,600 years old. What? Some local native tribes, most notably the Umatilla, claimed they were legally entitled to custody of the bones. They plan to give Kennewick Man, as he is known, a proper burial and forbid anthropological study of the remains out of tradition and respect. A group of scientists had other ideas, and during years of lawsuits, the bones have sat in the Burke Museum in Washington under carefully controlled climatic conditions. Say that 10 times fast. The tribes didn't want to allow study of the remains, but ironically, that was the only way they could prove a direct genetic connection to their people in order to have any legal claim to them. The bones were studied. Some said the skull wasn't in fact European and proposed a mixture of Northeast and Southeast Asian heredity. That would make a bit of sense, as the Umatilla are claiming he's Native American and natives on the West Coast mostly arrived from Asia. The generally accepted theory right now is two separate large migrations starting 15 to 17,000 years ago, and both involving land bridges. I plan to dig into the oral tradition of the Umatilla, who claim they've been in North America since the beginning of time and can trace their lineage back at least 10,000 years, but I will point out that the settlement of Pacific Islands and the oral tradition of the Hopi Native Americans both point to a water migration as well. Anyway, finally, advances in genetic testing allowed researchers to conclude, without suggesting a specific tribe, that the remains are from an ancestor of modern Native Americans. Kind of vague, but it was enough to convince the powers that be that the remains should be turned over to a local tribe for burial, which I believe is happening within a few months from now. What's interesting about this is that it's one of, if not the most complete skeleton of that age found in North America, and the exact specs of this bony bod aren't exactly like any particular group existing today. So a mere 8,000 years of interbreeding and evolution have rendered Kennewick Man unique. Pending further online exploration, I will say that I'm intrigued by the initial assessment that the bones appear Caucasian. It's a not-so-popular belief that ancient maritime peoples resembling Europeans, or possibly coming from Europe, or maybe Pakistan, or who the hell knows, may have been trucking around influencing culture and breeding with locals long before mainstream science is willing to allow. More on that later. For now, here are a couple fun facts about Kennewick Person. Kennewick Man, was he Native American? Obviously he must have been, that's the place they found him in. Hey there goes the Kennewick Man. Kennewick Man, comes from a tall and hardy clan. From the north, used to cold, died about 40 years old. Hey there goes the Kennewick Man. Kennewick Man, had relatives near New Zealand. What would be his average meal? Low on starch and high on steel. Hey there goes the Kennewick Man. Kennewick Man, according to the Smithsonian, stood 5.5 feet tall, had broken ribs and a dented skull. Hey there goes the Kennewick Man. As always, thank you for watching.
Subscribe!